From everyone wanting him to leave, to being the highest goal contributor in 2024-25, the ultimate goal and assists king.
He, for me, is a GA machine. Even if he doesn't have a great game, you still expect him to score an assist.
And maybe the next Ballon d'Or winner.
Ballon d'Or loading for Raphinha?
Especially if Salah goes out right now at this stage of the Champions League, I think that would give him an extra push. You could see the numbers. The numbers speak for themselves.
Yes, this may well go down as one of the most special and beautiful stories in football. A tale of how an overlooked poor kid from Porto Alegre defied the odds to become the most fearsome player in Europe, to become a legend for his nation in a matter of months, and to win the most prestigious individual trophy. But how did it all happen? Are we in a parallel universe? Or is Raphinha really the frontrunner for the Ballon d'Or with just 2 months to go this season? No, really, I'm sure even the most die-hard Barcelona fans still can't believe it's actually happening. As we said in our latest video of Barca's chances of winning the treble this season, this isn't a Christmas miracle, it's the actual truth itself. This man, who was on the verge of leaving last summer when Nico Williams was heavily linked with a move to the Catalan Giants, locked in like few players in history have done, and turned from an average Brazilian who could start in clubs like Wolverhampton or Crystal Palace into someone who steps up every single game. And before we get started, let me give you the stats. For these 7 months of the 2024-25 season, Raphinha has already surpassed his goal tally from his first 2 years at Barça, with his magical assist for Ferran Torres against Atletico Madrid in the super important league match at the Metropolitano. Raphinha has already contributed 45 goals in the entire 2024-25 season. For comparison, between his arrival in July 2022 and the end of last season in May 2024, which makes more or less 22 months in total, Raphinha had 43 goal contributions, or 2 less than this entire campaign, and it's still only March. And to make the contrasts even more vivid, under Xavi, Raphinha was benched around the 70th minute of each game, no matter how he was performing. Now, under Hansi Flick, when the 70th minute mark strikes, he shows no signs of slowing down. No, he actually picks up the next gear in the latest stages of the matches, and probably the easiest example we could give, his second assist for Ferran Torres in the Atletico Madrid game. After giving his all for 97 minutes in an ultra-exhausting championship-deciding game, Raphinha sensed hesitation in his opponent's legs, pressed him, and slid the ball into Ferran's path for his second assist of the game. And to go even further, talking about the late contributions from Raphinha, almost 25% or 11 out of his 45 goal involvements, they've all come after the 70th minute mark. The most important of these, of course, were the goal and assist for Lamine Yamal in the El Clasico in October, the winner in the magical 5-4 comeback against Benfica in January, and the aforementioned cross for Ferran Torres against Athletic in the final game before the international break. Before we move on to the advantages of Raphinha over Salah, Mbappé, Ousmane Dembele or Harry Kane for the Ballon d'Or, let's first look at what makes him so special under Hansi Flick. I'm going to give you 5 player-manager duos, and you have to tell us in the comments what they have in common. Eden Hazard with Jose Mourinho, Antoine Griezmann with Diego Simeone, Romelu Lukaku with Antonio Conte, Ousmane Dembele with Luis Enrique, and Raphinha with Hansi Flick. Can you think of the common trend here? These are some incredibly talented players and their favourite coaches. Not only that, but these are the coaches who help them reach their maximum potential. Whether it be through tactical setups or man management styles, all of these players, they've managed to step up their game after struggling under different coaches. And this is exactly what happened with Raphinha. So, let's look at how he evolved. Ignoring his pre-Premier League era because he wasn't considered world-class back then. At Leeds under Marcelo Bielsa and then Jesse Marsch, Raphinha was used as a right winger to provide width, and while his goal and assist tallies were respectable for a club of Leeds stature, 29 contributions in total in 2 seasons in England, he was never given the chance to try his hand in a different attacking role, a decision that would later completely change his fortunes. Then, upon arriving at Barcelona, everyone was hyped up about the Dembele-Lewandowski-Raphinha trio at the end of the 2022-23 season, believing that this would be the year for Barcelona. And while it all started well for Barca, and the team won the league with this trio, the Catalans crashed out of the Champions League in the group stage, which was a shame after those 150 million euros spent in the summer of 2022, 50 of which went for Raphinha. And what about his role? He was again forced to hug the touchline and play extremely wide as a traditional inverted winger. But do you know what the problem was? That Raphinha was simply not the type of player to play as a traditional winger. He simply doesn't have the pace, the dribbling ability, and the sharpness of someone like Yamal, Bukayo Saka, or Dembele. But the one thing he is undoubtedly the best in the world at is his ability to find space. Whether it be behind the defense or in the half spaces, Raphinha is a god in those situations. Xavi realized this about halfway through the last season and started playing him as a left winger. Yes, the position suggested he was on the wing again, but his role was very different this time. With Alejandro Balde providing width on the left, Raphinha was able to move into more central positions and use his best quality, finding the gaps. By the way, if you like our content, don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our future uploads. And while Xavi managed to understand and implement that huge tweak in Raphinha's abilities, it was Flick's ultra-aggressive and fluid tactics that took it to the next level. Just look at how many goals he scored after receiving a long ball, getting behind the defense, and masterfully avoiding the offside call. The most striking fact is that every Raphinha goal in Barca's biggest games this season has come in transition. Every goal, from his hat-trick against Bayern Munich, each of his goals against Real Madrid this season, the opener against Borussia Dortmund, the 5-4 win against Benfica. So, the equation is simple. If you can prevent Raphinha from getting into a one-on-one situation with the goalkeeper, which in most cases means staying in a low block, you have a good chance of challenging this Barcelona side. But the tricky part is that even when Raphinha is having a quiet game and has no chance of hurting the opponent with his goal scoring, his decisiveness comes with his playmaking, as happened against Atletico Madrid. And my boy Faisal, who is a huge Real Madrid fan, described it perfectly.
He's quiet. You still expect something, a GA, and it's giving you a GA.
Add that to his defensive prowess and you've got the complete package. An all-round star who has everything it takes to win the Ballon d'Or. Game after game, week after week, Raphinha is the man who runs up the most, pushes the opposition the most, helps and even doubles up with Balde in defense. Overall, he could easily be called the intensity king of Europe this season.
He's on a lot of goals with only one penalty. And I'm not saying that Kane shouldn't be having penalty and Mo Salah having a season in the Premier League that we will never see again. I'm saying if a guy has virtually the same amount of goals than you guys scored without penalties, it is outstanding. Because what Raphinha is doing on top of defending pressure, because when people talk about being complete, as a striker you need to know how to put pressure also. It's a lot of things that you need to do and Raphinha has it all.
And that's what really makes him the favourite for the Ballon d'Or. As Thierry Henry said, if you take away the attacking contributions, it's obvious that all of Kane, Dembele, Salah, Mbappé and Raphinha, who are more or less the frontrunners for the awards this season, have amazing stats. That's facts. But if we focus only on the defensive side of things, Raphinha is by far the most influential, and that really describes his winner's mentality. You can be sure he knows he'll never be as good a goalscorer as Kane, or as good a dribbler as Mbappé or Dembele, but he has locked in, realized what he needs to focus on to be the best version of himself, as cliche as that may sound, and he's showing that quality in front of the whole world. Because, just think about it, if we had to line up those 5 footballers in a straight line, from the most to least talented, I can assure you that at least 85 out of 100 people would have placed Rafa in 5th place. But this is the perfect example of how hard work is far more valuable in modern football than pure talent. As for their chances of winning the Ballon d'Or, I really do think that as of mid-March, Raphinha does have the upper hand. Maybe a week ago we would have said Salah was the favourite, but now, even though Salah has 9 contributions more than Raphinha, his exit from the Champions League and his ghosting for the Carabao Cup final against Newcastle, they've seriously damaged his chances. The other 3 on the list, Kane, Mbappé and Dembele, also have a good chance, but it remains to be seen how they'll perform. Interestingly, of these 5, only Mbappé, Raphinha and Dembele have a chance of winning the treble. Of course, this is all about to change as Real Madrid, Barcelona and PSG are all in the quarterfinals of the Champions League, and at least one of them is sure to be knocked out before the final at the Allianz Arena. Now it's time for you to say, do you visualize Raphinha lifting the treble this season, which would most probably lead to him winning the Ballon d'Or? Or is it still too early to make conclusions? Let us know in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed that one, please consider subscribing to the channel or check out our latest upload on Barca's chances of a historic 3rd European treble. So, if you're a passionate Barcelona fan, you wouldn't want to miss it. Catch you there.